Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing hello. Testing hello. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing hello. Hello. Testing. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. 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 Hello, 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 testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, testing 1, 2, testing, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, testing. Hello, hello, hello. We're doing a microphone check. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. This is Twana, you back. Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, 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 testing. We need the microphone to work. I need to get this stuff off of my screen, wherever it is. It's like something sticky is on my screen. I need to turn that off. I don't know what it is. There's a huge delay. Okay, I guess it's working, but there's something wrong with my microphone. So I have desktop playing, the mics are turned all the way up. I don't get it. I just do not get it. What is the deal? Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is really weird. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you guys hear me at all? Like, is there anything going on? Can you hear me at all? Is there any sound at all? Like, can you hear anything? Like, this is bad, crazy. I don't understand it. Not one little single bit do I understand this at all. This is insane. Insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I cannot. Can YouTube hear? Can you guys hear me on YouTube? Bruh. It's buffering here. It's buffering over on okay, TikTok looks like it's good. YouTube seems like it's buffering somewhat. So I'm not okay. Because maybe I should just okay. You know what? I'm gonna do this. Because I don't really have to be in the studio for YouTube. I don't. I don't have to be in the studio for YouTube, but I want to be heard. I want to listen. I feel like I need to bring my board back over here and hook it up because this is not working for me. I think I need to run the board over here, so hold on. This is attached. Are you on? Are you on? So now there's a different awareness. Wait, hold on. Let me just see what the number is. Can you feel that? Is my mixer connected? I'm gonna say it's connected. So then I'm going to settings, and then when you go audio, personality, 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 Facebook, testing, personality, 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 3, 4, testing, hello, testing, hello, testing, hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, hello, hello, testing, hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing, hello, this is the mic photograph, hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, alright, I can hear myself, but can I hear myself? Personality, Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. Hello. Testing, 1, 2, hello, testing. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, hello. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. The microphones and everything are up. I don't understand. I don't get it. I have audio input. Maybe I should have, is audio output working? Maybe I should put audio output as well. I'm not understanding why this isn't working. This is really weird. Testing, 1, 2. Did that help? Hello, testing, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. This is insane. I don't understand. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. Headphones up here, speakers, device, the sound is on, and something is not right there. Audio works. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. I don't even know what that is. Hello, testing, 1, 2. Hello, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, testing, 1, 2. Hello? Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello? Hey, love you, sis. I'm sorry. You know what? I didn't even see you were in here, but hey. Hey, girl, hey. I'm trying to figure out this darn, whatever this is. I'm trying to figure this thing out. I cannot even. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. How have you been? What have you been up to? What have you been doing? Me, as you can see, I'm trying to figure out the live stream. I'm trying to figure out why my sound is horrible. Like, is it? Can you guys hear me? Can you actually hear me? Like, I'm supposed to have like my music in the background, and you know, I'm supposed to be, doing like story time and stuff, and like I had to go and get my board and hook it up. I got these really cool headphones, these really cool headphones. They're really cool. And love them. Down from Amazon, they light up and everything. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get, the headphones and they're gonna, be cool on camera or whatever. And I have the most hardest time with TikTok. My screen for TikTok, you guys, is um my screen for TikTok is just buffering. I'm using OBS. I was using, yeah, look at that. My YouTube is buffering as well. I don't know what it is. I restarted everything earlier. I was using TikTok Live Studio, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do story time because I got a couple of stories that I wanted to tell, I want to talk about, I wanted to cover. And so I was like, I'm gonna do that. I can't even hear anything in my headphones. Like, I don't know. Maybe do I have them plugged into the wrong thing? Like, I don't know. Okay, I probably have them plugged into the wrong thing. So, can you guys still hear me? I had to get the mic and all of the things. Like, it's insane. It's literally insane. Turn on the reverb all the way down. Connect your encoder to go live. It is connected. I don't understand what's wrong with you. Like, there's something, like, I'm live on these places, but to monitor the live streams is like, God, wait, I don't understand it. So, I don't know. I give up. It's like, I'm glad you guys can hear me. I'm glad you can hear me. I'm glad. Because, you know what? Live streaming is not easy. It's one of the hardest jobs on the planet. And whoever says that, oh, I could sit up and I can talk, all day, I can do this all day. No, no. Because like I'm going live from my laptop, from my computer. I have to have a monitor, I have to have like an extra phone or a monitor so that I can sit here and listen to this, to see if the sound is right and all this kind of stuff. When I was on TikTok Live Studio, y'all don't even know, I sound like a robot or something. And I was like, all I want to do, is put my music to, you know, the background. So when I'm telling the story, you know what I'm saying? It's not so crazy. I mean, it fills it up. And so, like, this is insane. This is absolutely 100% insane. And, yeah. I mean, everything is literally just buffering. I don't understand it. Oops, my bad. Alright, I'm taking a break because this is annoying me. It's upsetting me. I don't like it at all. And so, yeah. Let's see. Did I do those hardening over there? Yes, I did. I have to support myself until I get some, people. But I don't understand why my screens are buffering. Like, it's really weird. But fortunately, um, the live streams on OBS is good. Everything looks like it's working good. So fortunately, let's see. This is. look at that YouTube stream, it's completely black. And it looks like, oh no. Okay. Alright. I think we're good on Twitch and Twitch. Let's see. Let's go to Twitch and see if we're good. Let's yeah, let's go to Kick. Let's go to Kick and Twitch to see if we're good. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the internet. Sunflower, did you come back in? Hey, Sunflower. So we're streaming on different platforms tonight, and everything is buffering for some reason. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what's going on. It's absolutely insane. Do I have Twitch and Kick on this phone as well? Let me see. I'm just gonna check the live stream and make sure it's. I don't know why everything is buffering for me. This is so weird. I'm literally just trying to check the stream and make sure everything is okay. Port 4 is on, that's good. Am I on? Yes. So we're live on Twitch. Let's see, give me a channel. Let's see, are we live on Twitch? I wish I had my other phone. My other phone would be so great right now. We're good on Kick as well. Alright. So I'm sure we're live somewhere. Alright. And then TikTok is live, Kick is live, Twitch is live. Let's check YouTube. Yeah. My live stream says work from home. It's really not. It's really not work from home. Oh my God. It's really not work from home. I promise you it's not. Hi. It's really, thank you. Thank you so much for the like. This is really not work from home. This is actually a story time, right? So we're gonna get on with it. I hope that the sound is good and you guys can hear me. If there's an issue with the sound, let me know in the comments. Thank you. Alright, it looks like we're doing good. So we're gonna go ahead with that first story. I'm gonna put the title of the story in here so you guys can see. Oh. we go. Alright, you guys ready? The Watcher of 657 Boulevard. Imagine buying your dream home, the one you saved your entire life for. Now imagine a letter arriving that says someone is watching their children from inside the walls. And that person, they've been watching for decades, and they were never caught. In June 2014, Derek and Maria Brothers did what many families dreamed of. They bought a beautiful 6-bedroom Victorian home at 657 Boulevard in Westville, New Jersey for $1.3 million. A wraparound porch, stained glass windows, the perfect place to raise those bereaved children. Then the letters started coming. 3 days after they closed on the house, before they even moved in, the first letter arrived. It was addressed to the new owner in careful block letters. The writer said their family had been watching the house for generations. They knew the Broderses had 3 children, referred to them as young blood, and mentioned details about the house's layout and renovations. Here's what the letter said. 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher, and have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job and my life and my obsession, and now you are too. The Broderses went to the police. They hired private investigators. Former FBI agents got involved. Nothing. Then the second letter came, and the third. One letter specifically mentioned their children playing in the basement. It said, will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. The Watcher knew the house, knew the family, knew their children, and they were always watching. The family never moved in, not once. For years, they paid the mortgage on the house. They were too terrified to enter. They tried to sell it. They even tried to demolish it. But nothing worked. A DNA test on one of the envelopes revealed something strange. The person who flipped the envelope was likely a woman. This changed everything. Suspicions shook, but no DNA match was ever found. Michael Lampert, the next-door neighbor, described as a Boo Radley character who would sometimes peer into windows, was questioned but never charged. His sister Abby was also a person of interest after the female DNA discovery, but ruled out. Then there was a young man who played dark video games under the username The Watcher. His girlfriend's car was spotted lingering outside the Brothers' house one night, and police tried to interview him twice. He canceled both times and moved out of state. The Broderses finally sold the house in 2019. They lost over $400,000. A young couple bought it. The new owners had not received any letters. The Watcher was never caught. No arrests, no fingerprints, no digital trail. The identity remains unknown to this day. Someone out there knows who broke these windows. Someone knows why they did it, and someone knows if they're still watching. The question that haunts everyone who hears this story: who was watching from 657 Boulevard? And are they still out there right now? Comment below. Who do you think the watcher really is? Drop your theory and let's talk about it. Turn off the lights and stay real. There's a long story. Did you guys like that? The Watcher of 657 Boulevard? That was pretty cool. I thought that was cool. I thought that was pretty cool. It's a real story too. It's actually 100% real. It's not made up. All the stories that I do are 100% real. I'm gonna change the title because we're going to the story. So I'm gonna change this title really quickly again. Okay. This one is called The Christmas Eve Void. It's a little longer, so you guys should enjoy. The surface of perfection. I don't know if you guys can hear that music. It's not good. It kind of sounds like you guys can hear it, but I'm not 100% sure if you can't go worry about it. Alright, let's get into the story, shall we? This is the Christmas Eve story, The Surface of Perfection. Fayetteville, West Virginia, December 24th, 1945. It was Christmas Eve. The Sauter family home was a scene of mid-century domestic perfection. George and Jenny Sauter had built a good life for themselves and their 10 children. That night, the house was warm, and stockings were hung, and the air was thick with the quiet stillness of the Appalachian winter. But beneath that perfection, there was a quiet creeping tension. George Sauter was an immigrant, a man who had been vocal about his dislike for the fascist regime back in his native Italy. He had made enemies and he had been warned, but on that night, those threats felt like whispers in the dark until they weren't. At 1 a.m., the phone rang. A strange, sharp sound in the silence. Jenny answered. No one spoke. Only the sound of a woman laughing in the background and the clinking of glasses. She hung up, unsettled. She went back to bed. 10 minutes later, the house was screaming. George woke up to the smell of smoke. The fire started in the attic, a place where the wiring was brand new and inspected just months before. The family scrambled. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children escaped into the snow. But 5 children, Maurice, Martha, Lee, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were trapped upstairs. George tried to reach them. He grabbed his ladder to climb to the window, but the ladder, which had been leaning against the house just hours before, was gone. He tried to start his truck, to drive it under the window, to climb into the room, but both trucks, which had worked perfectly that morning, were dead. The house burned with a terrifying, unnatural intensity. The roof collapsed. The fire department didn't arrive until morning, claiming their equipment was broken and they were short staffed. By the time the ashes cooled, the Sodders expected to find the remains of their children. But they found nothing. Not a bone, not a tooth, not a buckle. In the house, the fire that hot, Roger says there should have been something left, but the authorities closed the book in days. They called it an electrical accident. They told the parents to bury their grief and move on, but the Sodders refused to accept a reality that didn't make sense. They started digging. They hired private investigators. They learned the phone line hadn't just melted, it had been cut with precision. They heard rumors of local men bragging about settling the fire. They received whispers reaching across the ocean to silence George Sodder for his past. The unreal element isn't just the fire, it's what happened 20 years later. In 1967, the family received a letter from a postman in Kentucky. Inside was a single grainy photograph of a young man. On the back, handwritten in a shaky script, Louis Sodder. I love Brother Frankie. Was it him? Was it a cool joke? A ghost reaching out from a life he wasn't supposed to have. The family sent a private investigator to find the man in the photo, but the investigator disappeared. He was never heard from again. For 40 years, George and Jenny, they kept a billboard on the highway. It showed the faces of their 5 missing children. It stood there through the seasons, a permanent decaying monument to a truth that the world refused to acknowledge. They died waiting for their children to walk through the front door. They died knowing that what happened that night wasn't an accident. When you look at the Sodder case, you aren't looking at a tragedy. You are looking at a system. Police, fire departments, government agencies, all moving in perfect, cold sync to cover up a void. Some fires aren't meant to be put out, and some truths are buried so deep that even 40 years of searching won't bring them into the light. The fire went out, but the void is still there. And that was the case of the Sodder family. I have an echo for some reason. I don't know what the deal is. I'm gonna cut that accompaniment down because I have some sort of echo going on. I don't know what it is. Is it me? I'm always trying to fix this stuff on I'm always trying to fix this crap. It drives me bananas. I'm always trying to fix it. Alright. Would you guys like to hear another story? Another true crime story? I have time for one more. Let me look at the chat. What are you guys in the mood for? And I do have some fiction stories, but I'm really dedicated to true crime. No shade, I just love, real mysteries.
Let's see what we can come up with. So, whoa, whoa. Okay. Let's see.
All right.
All right. So I found one that I'm probably gonna do. The Pig Roaster Murders, Cosmo DiNardo, and the Soul Buried Farms. So we're probably gonna do that one. And The Killing of T.C. Andrew Parker. This was in 2019. I guess I should say the Unwising. So let me change the title. We're gonna do the one from Soul Buried Farms, okay? We're gonna do that one. Good Lord. Yeah, okay. Let me go back to my OBS really quick and change the title. I really hope I can edit this. I'll probably have to download it and edit it for YouTube tomorrow. Oh, it's gonna be like kind of hard to read. Alright, here we go.
You guys ready?
You guys ready?
Welcome
in, everybody. We live on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So we have several audiences out there listening to our stories, and I hope that you guys are entertained. I do want to say that these stories are real, okay? And they are real cases. Most of them are considered to be cold cases. They've been closed. Mysteries. Victims that literally disappeared. So I try to find stories, like that because I really enjoy looking into doing deep dives and digging into this kind of stuff. So maybe later this week, if not tomorrow, probably Tuesday, we'll do a couple of deep dives. I've got one on a Netflix series that I saw called The Crash. So we may get into that tomorrow, right? Or Tuesday if you guys want to. Alright, let's get into the Pig Roaster Murders. Cosmo DiNardo and the Soul Buried Farms. 4 young men go out to buy marijuana. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can say it on YouTube. But they never come home. What police called a drug deal gone wrong soon becomes one of the most disturbing true crime cases in Pennsylvania, involving a wealthy family, a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic son, a backhoe, a burn tank, and a confession that will turn your stomach. first, we're going to talk about the victims. The victims was astonishing. We have Jimmy Patrick, who was 19. We have Dean F., who was 19. We have Tom Neal, which is 21. And Mark Sturgis, who was only 22 years old. So the ages range between 19 and 22. And they all set out to buy the drug. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. The investigation. So the investigation quickly zeroed in on Cosmo De Niro, a 20-year-old from a wealthy family who owned a 90-acre farm in Soulsbury Township. De Niro was the son of a prominent real estate developer, and he had been diagnosed with a paranoid schizophrenia and had dozens of police contacts on his record. Police discovered that De Niro had been luring men to the family property with the promise that, like I said, the marijuana cells. The key piece of the puzzle missed GUN warrant law enforcement had previously flagged De Niro, but the warrant was never executed. The confession. De Niro was arrested and confessed to the murders, but the story that came out in his confession tapes shocked even seasoned investigators. He claimed the killings were part of a drug deal that escalated, but the details told a darker story. Sean Kratz, De Niro's cousin, was also arrested and charged. He was allegedly present during at least 10 victims, and the confession tapes revealed that De Niro murdered each victim individually, then used equipment on the family farm to dispose of the bodies. A backhoe was used to bury remains. A burn tank was used to destroy evidence. The farm, once a symbol of family wealth, became a horror scene. The cover-up and the aftermath. The De Niro family property, with its 90 acres of land, provided the perfect isolation for the crimes. De Niro's family had money and influence, but raised uncomfortable questions. How did a diagnosed schizophrenic with a history of police contact slip through the cracks? Why wasn't he stopped before 4 young men passed away? De Niro pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Sean Kratz took a plea deal and was sentenced to life. The chilling question? The story of the Bucks County murders isn't just about the killings themselves. It's about money, privilege, and system failure. Cosmo De Niro's family was wealthy, and he had no mental health issues. He had been reported to police multiple times, and yet he was able to lure 4 young men to his family farm and unalive them without anyone stopping him. Was this really just a drug deal gone wrong, or was something much darker happening on that farm long before the unalive? Do you think the drug deal gone wrong theory fully explains the case? And how did money and privilege play a role in this investigation? Could this have been prevented if the miscreant had been acted on? And what does this case say about how the system treats wealthy suspects? Interesting. And that was the case of the big Oyster Murders, Cosmo De Niro and the Soulsbury Farms. You have no idea. You guys can't fight me. Alright, here we go, guys. Last story of the night. This is the unaliving of PC Andrew Harper. This happened in Berkshire, England, August 15th, 2019. So this isn't a really old crime, but it is true. So tonight on Unreal, a newlywed police officer responds to a routine burglary call. Within minutes, he passed away, dragged behind a car for over a mile at 40 miles per hour. His unalivers, three teenagers. Their escape route, a gypsy, and a traveler site. In the aftermath, a $4.2 million government renovation of that very site over the objections of the officer's own mother. This is the case that changed British law, exposed the community's complicated relationship with crime, and left a grieving widow fighting for justice. PC Andrew Harper, 28 years old, a Valley police officer who had served for nearly a decade, was a traffic officer, one of the most dangerous jobs in British policing. He loved his job and he was good at it. His colleagues described him as a gentle giant, hardworking and dedicated. And he was the kind of officer who would stop and help anyone. He wasn't afraid to put himself in harm's way. But on July 27, 2019, he married his fiancée, Lizzie. They hadn't even gone on their honeymoon yet. 19 days later, he was unalived. On August 2019, Andrew and his colleague, PC Andrew Shaw, responded to a call about a stolen quad bike. The theft had just occurred outside a house near Bradfield, Southend in Berkshire. The officers had attached the quad bike to their car using a strap they had stolen earlier. When the police arrived, the officers abandoned the quad bike and tried to flee. Andrew got out of his vehicle and approached them. What happened next was chaotic. Henry Long, the driver, hit the accelerator. Andrew's foot became entangled in the strap that was still attached to the car. He was dragged along country lanes for approximately 1 mile. His body being thrown against the road, the car was traveling at speeds of over 40 miles an hour, and his injuries were catastrophic. He passed away within minutes. He was 28 years old. Three teenagers were the unalivers. Henry Long, which was only 18, the driver from Berkshire. Then there was Albert Bowers, who was 17 years old, and Cassie Cole, only 17 years old. They were arrested at Four Houses Corner Gypsy and Traveler site in Youthton, Berkshire. The site would become central to the story, not just because of the arrests, but because of what happened next. Long Bowers and Cole were charged with murders, but in 2020, the jury returned a verdict that shocked the nation. Not guilty of murder, guilty of manslaughter. They were sentenced. Henry Long got 16 years, Albert got 13 years, and Jesse got 13 years. The Attorney General appealed the sentences, claiming they were too lenient. The appeal was rejected. Lizzie Harper, Andrew's widow, was devastated. She launched a campaign for what would become Harper's Law. Legislation required a life sentence for anyone who causes the unaliving of an emergency worker. The law passed in April of 2022. It was Andrew's legacy. The Traveler Site Connection. Now, here's where the case gets even more complicated.
So
So
the
the
unalivers
unalivers were arrested at the Four Houses corner site, but Andrew's mother, Debbie Adlam, went further.
she
She claimed the unalivers had used the site to destroy evidence after the unaliving. So the site had a bad reputation and had been shut down in 2020 due to its dilapidated state. And locals described it as a hotbed of criminal activity. But then came the decision that sparked outrage, the 4.2 million renovation. So West Berkshire Council approved 4.2 million renovation, of the site. It would have 17 pitches for traveler families. It would have individual day rooms with kitchen, toilet, and bathroom. It would have a children's play area and paper bands arranged in a circle. So the renovation was approved despite more than 50 objections, including one from Thumbs Valley Police. Thumbs Valley Police objected, saying this is connected to the ongoing serious historic concerns with the policing of the site in the past and the use of police resources in investigating criminal offenses at the site. The accumulation in numbers of PC Harper being associated with the site in 2019. Debbie Adlam, Andrew's mother, spoke at the council meeting to open the site again, having had the history that it has, particularly for our family. It beggars belief that his whole life can be wiped out and we can just reopen it as if he didn't exist. It didn't happen. She asked the planning committee directly, Andrew with your son, would you approve this? And then there was Bram Brigman from the local parish council supported the police objections, arguing that if permission was granted, the council as operator will have no excuse whatsoever if this site reverts to being a hotbed of criminal activity. The council responded in saying that the council is actively aware of past dreadful events on the site, but these are not material reasons for preventing reoccupation. That those returning are not in any way guilty of the manslaughter of PC Andrew Harper, and that disallowing reoccupation would be the equivalent of preventing people reoccupying authority housing due to criminal committed in the area. So Councilor Nick Carter argued that no other ethnic group would be described as inherently criminal. The case sits at a crossroads. So the media coverage of PC Harper's unaliving is deeply negative and laid at the door of traveler communities rather than free individual travelers. A 2025 academic study comparing PC Harper's unaliving to the 1960 unaliving of PC Leslie Meehan found a strike difference. In 1960, the Gypsy Committee was treated with some sympathy by the media. In 2019, the coverage was coercive and framed around the entire community. The chilling question. Three teenagers unalived a police officer. They were arrested at a travel site. The site was shut down and rebuilt with taxpayer money. Andrew's mother begged them not to. The police begged them not to. The local council did it anyway. So who was right? Was the council right to say that an entire community shouldn't be punished for the actions of three individuals? Or was Andrew's mother right to say that reopening the site was a betrayal of her son? And here's the question that haunts this case. If Andrew Harper had been unalived by three teenagers from a different community, a council estate, a wealthy suburb, a private school, would the same decisions have been made? PC Andrew Harper passed away during when he lived. He was a good man, a newlywed, only married for 19 days, and considered a hero. His unalivers are in prison. His widow changed the law. But the site where the unalivers were arrested has been rebuilt, and the families who lived there didn't unalive Andrew. But the pain remains, and the questions remain. So what do you guys think? Do you think the council was right to approve the renovation? Should an entire community be associated with the homes of 50 individuals? If Andrews unalivers were travelers, would the media coverage have been different? So let's look at the questions. Do you think the council was right to approve the renovation? Honestly, I can say that I agree with that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with upgrading that community. The people need somewhere to live. Travelers need somewhere to live, and knowing the history of travelers, especially in England, um, you know, they're looked at as, criminals anyway. It's 2026 and some people still don't like gypsies or travelers or, whatever. And that's, it's kind of weird. I'm an African American, so I can definitely understand, people and their bigotry. Um, but just because somebody did something, doesn't mean that it's everybody's fault. It's not that whole community's fault. So yeah, upgrading it, throwing away all the trash, cleaning it up, making it somewhere inviting for people to live, I think is a great idea. Number two, should an entire community be associated with the crimes of the individuals? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The whole community is not guilty. The people who are guilty of the crimes were put in jail. They're in prison. Not for life. And maybe it's because of their age. These were teenagers. So, it wasn't him, it was manslaughter, right? And I'm just saying it's probably because of their ages that this happened. So number three, if Andrews unalivers weren't travelers, would the media coverage have been different? Well, looking at the case, it said that the teenagers went there, but it didn't say that the teenagers lived there. So unless we know who the parents are and if they were actually travelers, I don't think, you know, we won't even know what the teenagers said. Did they say that that was their home? That's where they lived? But the media coverage, I think the media coverage would have been different. That's the question. Would the media coverage about this case been different? Absolutely, I think so. Number four, was Harper's Law just a response or was it emotionally driven? I think both. I think it was a response by the community and the council, but I think it was emotionally driven by the newlywed, by the wife. Obviously. And, the police officer that passed away, you have his newlywed wife. They had only been married for 19 days, and then you have his mother. And, I think the law was a good thing. I think passing that law is a good thing. You unalive somebody, you take somebody's life. That's huge. I'm talking about a complete and utter stranger. I'm not talking about, people who assist in, say you have a terminal illness and, you decide, I want to be assisted with my passing, that type of thing. That's completely and totally different. And in some places, it's absolutely legal. You can decide when you want to pass away. But this man on the street doing his job did not expect for three teenagers to, attack him and unalive him. Absolutely should have been in prison for life, in my opinion. However, it didn't end up that way. They got manslaughter, and in a few years, what is this? 2026, and this happened. Let me scroll back up. When did this happen? Was it 2019? This happened in 2019, and it's 2026, so they don't have long to go. They'll be out soon, right? I don't think that's fair, but the appeal was overturned. So, what do you guys think? The last question in this case is, what does this case say about how British people treat its gypsy and traveler community? Well, hi they. It's not a good thing. I'm gonna I'm gonna look this up real quick because
It's
it's
2026.
2026. 2019 wasn't that far away. It wasn't that long ago.
We've
But
seen
we've
a lot
seen
of
a lot of
videos and we've
videos
seen
and
a
we've
lot of
seen a lot of
television
television
shows.
shows about the British community, right? Um, it's the gypsy, communities and how they're treated, and it's not
Well,
welcoming.
I'm talking
And I'm talking about like a
broad.
broader aspect of it.
Hey,
Hi, hey, Lindsay,
um,
ciao Bella. Am I saying that right?
um,
Hi.
so
So
how
how Britain treats its gypsy and travelers community. So
story
a
about
story about how a country treats its most hated minority.
crime
Now, a crime story,
story.
but the story behind the crime. Because when three teenagers unalived a
So
police officer, they didn't just destroy a family, they exposed a fault line in British society that has been there for centuries.
they
So they
literally
literally,
actually
when I tell you
don't
they don't,
like
when I tell you they don't like these people, they don't like it. They don't like the community. We like I said,
it
and
notice
we
that
noticed that with like the British shows, like the what do you call
wedding.
it, the weddings. When they get married and they do like the whole wedding and the elaborations of things and stuff like that, and we look at them and it's like, why are they always fighting? Why are they always doing this?
Um,
Um,
now I
now,
watched the
I
Gypsy
watch the Gypsy
Sisters, right?
Sisters, right?
And so
I still watch the reruns sometimes because they crack me up. Um,
all of them are
all
not
of
the
them are
same.
not the same, and all of them are not the same because some of them are Romanian, some of them are, um, they're different. Like they come from different places and stuff. So all gypsies are not the same. Um, so you can't put them all in one basket. If you
Ask.
ask a gypsy, they will say that they're completely different from travelers caravans. They move around
Those
because most of them
seasons
do seasonal
work.
work.
So
So, maybe when they leave, they will, leave a little mess behind or something like that. But it's not chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Um, you just have to kind of put rules and regulations
there
down.
was
Now, there was one case where they were in
um,
um,
and it wasn't
and it wasn't Gloucestershire. I can't remember. Somewhere in Britain. I can't remember where it was.
but
But here's the thing. They were out there and they got put out of their community. They had like 24 or 48 hours to leave. And I can't remember the name of the case, but I'll look it up for you guys so we can, cover it one night.
but
But what happened was
it,
they
they just
they
didn't
just
like
didn't like them. They
so
said that they were scammers and they were, causing all kinds of problems. They were junky. There was too many of them.
so
And so the
so
council said,
as
you
have
guys have, these many days to
out
move out.
so
You know what I'm saying? So they had to find
so
somewhere to go.
it's
It's
always
always,
that's
land that's unclaimed,
so that
that, they'll move
they
to.
all
They
have
all have
trade
trailers and you get their cars, some of them are drivable, so you can move from place to place. Some places, especially here in the United States, we have places for truckers. Now it's getting to where you have to have, places for travelers.
so
And so it's difficult
for
for um,
so
a certain type of gypsy, a certain type of traveler, a certain type of you know,
it's
it's like, 3 or 4 different, kinds of travelers, and it's just crazy. But the gypsy community is looked down upon, the traveler communities are looked down upon, and there are so many criminal cases. Gypsy, Roma, the traveler communities are among the most marginalized groups in the UK, but they experience some of the starkest health iniquities of any ethnic group. Gypsy and traveler men live on an average of 10 to 12 years less than men in the general population, and women live 12 years less, according to their research. So the S word, the unaliving of themselves, great for the Irish traveler, which is completely different from, the Gypsy. The Irish travelmen are 6 times more higher than the general population. These are not just statistics, they are the consequences of systematic um, and social exclusion. So in 2019, a report by the House of Commons found that Gypsy, Roma, and traveler communities experience the worst outcomes of any ethnic group across a huge range of areas, including education, health, employment, criminal justice, and hate crime. The report concluded that successive governments had comprehensively failed them. So when you turn the news on or open up a tabloid, the story you hear is very different. Um, and if you ask, a gypsy person about these things, of course the stories are going to be completely different. But oh wow, the Broadside case was crazy, wasn't it? That was insane.
Alright guys,
All right, guys, I'm
I'm
gonna get out of here. I may, come back to live on TikTok later. I'm not sure. But shout out to YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. Thank you guys so much for hanging out there with me. I really appreciate it. I will get these stories edited and up on YouTube really soon so that you guys can come and listen to them whenever you like. Again, thank you so much. I love you guys to life, and I will talk to you in the next live stream. Bye.